Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. It is September, 27th, the day after Helene passed through. My name is CW. I'm here at Books, Travels, History, and Tales. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I like doing videos about history. That's my passion. And occasionally I like trivia and fun facts and stories. And I've said this before, grant you, I have not made many travels. It is just that I have elected to stay closer at home for personal reasons. No, I'm not on house arrest. Stop suggesting that. In November, we have an election. This is something I used to tell high school students. First of all, you have to register to vote when you turn 18. Or you should. Most of them didn't. By most, I mean approximately 51, 52%. Surprisingly, even in college, there is a flat number that have not registered and do not really care to vote. Strange. In my day, that was a big push. We all wanted the 18-year-old to vote because in our minds, if you could be drafted into the military service, you should be allowed to vote and have something to say about it. So, November, we got an election coming up. Everybody knows who the parties are, who the main candidates are. You have a former president and you have a vice president. The former president went through the primaries and has been appointed by the Republican Party. The vice president has been anointed. She did not campaign for this position. She was anointed. Funny, they call themselves, the providers of democracy. And it's not like they didn't have time to go ahead and trot somebody else out or see what they could do. But instead, they sought to run the least popular vice president in recent history. And none of that makes sense to me. When you go in to vote, I don't want you to vote for a man or a woman. And you shouldn't vote for a political party. You should vote for a policy, what someone stands for. Donald J. Trump is pro-Second Amendment. There is no secret to that. The NRA, they love Donald. I have no problem with that. I'm not a member, by the way. It's not going to come to a surprise to most of you, even those who may like him. Donald Trump lies on occasion. Donald Trump exaggerates. Well, duh. He's a politician. Vice President Harris, I don't know what she stands for. I'm not certain of her policy. I'm trying to stick to my notes. I don't want to go off on a rampage. During the ABC debate, she was asked a question about, the first question, are we better than we were, 4 years ago? She did everything but answer that. And they kind of let her go with that. They didn't challenge her or nothing like that. So she didn't answer that question. It was a good time to answer a question. I am not certain of her policies. That is concerning, especially about the Second Amendment. And the Second Amendment is very important. It was created not just for fighting Native Americans or, the French who would occasionally come down from Canada. It's made so the politicians who run our government can be faced with a real reality that the populace is in control and they have the right, according to the Declaration of Independence, to change the government or abolish it if it doesn't work. So the Second Amendment is there for a reason. And keep in mind that it was part of a Bill of Rights that was necessary to get the Constitution ratified. So in 2007, dealing with Vice President Harris's view on the Second Amendment, 2007, she helped draft a certain piece of legislation in California when she was a district attorney in San Francisco. Kind of frightening. I couldn't believe it when I first read it, so I got a second source, and this is, well, it wasn't American, it was BBC. And I reread it and read it again. She drafted a notice and informed firearm owners in San Francisco that the police, under this legislation, would have the right to come into your home and inspect your firearm safety storage facilities or your capabilities. She told reporters, we're going to require, I have to read this, reasonable behavior among everybody in the community. And just because you legally possess a firearm, or excuse me, she said gun, in the sanctity of your locked home, doesn't mean that we're not going to walk into that house or that home and check to see if you're being responsible and safe in the way that you conduct your affairs. End quote. What affairs? What other affairs are you inspecting? That's 2007. That's it's there. You can go read it. It's an article. This was signed into law by none other than the San Francisco mayor at the time, the winner that he is, currently the governor, Gavin Newsom. Harris further stated, it was a way of legislating, I have to do the air bunnies, our values, meaning hers, and encouraging certain kinds of behavior. Harris, just last August, she told CNN her values have not changed. Now, go to somebody else like Bernie Sanders. We all know Bernie, the socialist independent from Vermont. Vermont's a nice, beautiful place. Now, why they voted for Bernie, I don't know, but they must have their reasons. And I don't care. That's their state problem. But Bernie said that Harris has dropped her left policies basically in order to win the election. So I guess she'll say anything. I think that's what he said. She'll say anything to get elected. Or maybe that's not what he meant. I don't know. But it certainly sounds that's what he meant. In 2019, Harris supported mandatory gun buybacks and thought that it was a good idea. It's a good idea that the government get into the pawn shop business, no questions asked, and that was a good idea. We'll just have all those guns. And we'll just buy them. And then she tells Oprah, I am a gun owner. Okay, I've said it enough times. I'm tired of saying it. A gun is a piece of artillery or a Navy cannon. A firearm is a pistol, revolver, long gun, shotgun, rifle, assault weapon. She says she's in favor of an assault weapons ban. because it's a tool of war. Yeah. An AR-15, a Colt 45 pistol, Thompson submachine gun, muskets, Kentucky long rifle, and Joe Biden's cannon are all weapons of war. They'll all do the job. So, where does that stop? Where does she stop with a list of weapons of war? The British feared the Kentucky long rifle. So, she's also in favor of what they call red flag laws. Let's see, how can I quickly explain this? A red flag law is where someone, citizen, police officer, approaches a magistrate or a judge and incites that this person is a threat to himself or others, needs a medical examination. And when they take him to get mentally screened, the judge can, or sometimes orders his weapons to be seized. The thing with that is that once he probably gets cleared, he or she gets cleared mentally from a doctor, the weapons are gone. The firearms are gone. I will tell you this now from personal experiences. Judges do not like to give firearms back. They will probably be destroyed. So good luck getting that back. So it's just another way she can confiscate your weapons or firearms. In 2019, Harris wanted all assault weapons off the street. Buybacks, I'll tell you this, they are very expensive. And they alone do not have much effect on firearm violence. They just turn the government into a pawn shop with no questions asked. The pawn shop actually has to ask questions and put firearms on holes and things like that. Not these guys. But she thinks it's a great idea. But she doesn't explain. She likes to use the Australian approach where they did all this buyback, but she never mentions that they had to acquire levies in their Medicare plans in Australia to pay for these. They were very expensive. And I said plural, several. Another thing she doesn't bring up, there was a reduction of gun violence in Australia after they put this in, but there are still 4 million approximate firearms in Australia. Most of the firearm violence occurred in the use of suicides. Most. That's in Australia. It's the same here. So when they got rid of the guns in Australia, the cost of, hanging went up because people were buying ropes to kill themselves with. Hanging went up, I believe, 57%. So just not having a firearm didn't stop them from killing themselves. Maybe you should direct your interest in mental health. Maybe that's the answer. During the debate, one of the commentaries or the moderators asked her about her not supporting the buybacks now. What was why she didn't want to back up buybacks now? And she didn't exactly give us an answer. And she wasn't challenged on it. So Donald J. Trump, pro Second Amendment guy, had to surrender 2 firearms to the authorities of New York because he became a convicted felon. Now, with the Secret Service agents all around him, he's probably never been, well, other than being president, never been closer to firearms before. But he didn't have one. So he's willing to surrender his firearms, but he wants to protect your rights so you can keep yours. So maybe that's something you should think about. Think about policy when it comes time to vote. Don't vote for a woman or a man or a party. Vote for a policy. Ah, God. I hate doing this, but this kind of irked me. Most news, they all have an agenda. We are getting constantly bombarded by social media and everybody else's opinion. I don't care about your opinion. You're no longer doing the news. You're just doing opinions. Just show me the facts. Tell me the story, the real story, and let me make my own decision. And that's what you should do. Follow your heart. Go for a policy that works for you and your family. And I'll see you in November. Well, actually, I'll see you tomorrow because I'm going to do another video. Probably not about this. I'm going to do something fun. I don't know. Maybe an automobile race in Canada. That's me for my channel. Have a good day.